Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, this is the hardest test you will ever pass. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, you've been tested your whole life. I've mentioned this in so many thousands of videos over the years. Some of the tests were big for you, some were small, some were middle, somewhere in between. Some of the examples of tests that you've passed in life were graduating grade school. You graduated grade 1 to grade 2, then eventually you went to high school. You were a freshman, you were a newbie, you didn't know what was going on. The sophomores, the juniors, and the seniors perhaps teased you, taunted you, whatever they did, but eventually you became a sophomore, and then you were a senior in high school. You passed those tests. You went on to university, possibly the same thing. Then perhaps one of the biggest tests to that point was maybe you had to get a job and you had to pass a test to qualify for a certain job. And you thought that that was daunting, it was insurmountable. How could you do it? There's so many other people that were more qualified than you, that scored higher on tests, and that appeared to be so much smarter than you and to know so much more, maybe even be confident. Well, what happened? You got the job. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I care about you. But you passed all these tests throughout life. Another test that perhaps you took or you considered taking was becoming a lifeguard and learning how to swim, or maybe taking the test to see how smart you are, the Mensa test, to see if you're a genius. There are all these different tests. Now, having said that, the narcissistic relationship is a test of a lifetime. Unlike all of the other tests that I just use as examples, the narcissistic relationship or the narcissistic abusive cycle that you were part of, it's a test of one person, by one person, and for one person, which means this. Let's say that you were studying to go to university or to take the Mensa test to see how smart you were. Well, those are standardized tests to a degree, and everybody gets one, and you can judge on other people's performances what you need to do to get to a certain level. The narcissistic relationship is unlike that. This is not one size fits all. This is a test of your mind. It's a test of your spirit. It's a test of your emotional intelligence. It's a test of your IQ. Yes, it is. It's a test of your resilience, your strength, and everything about you. You will be tested to your core. Now, you were not taught this in school, so you didn't know what you were up against. I've said that in so many videos. Unlike, let's say you broke a bone in your arm, the doctor said it, you healed in 6 weeks, just like every other human being can heal because their body does the work for them. Well, you knew that if you broke a bone in your body, that's what would happen. Okay, fair enough. The narcissistic abusive cycle, you weren't prepared for it. You were tricked and trapped. You were manipulated. You were placed in a whirlwind relationship. You were probably caught up in the trauma bond. I can assure you, you didn't have boundaries. You were working to a fault to please the person who you are considering. You did everything and more. You went above and beyond the call of duty to continue to put out the fires that person was starting intentionally. And that person was testing you from the minute they met you up until and including after that relationship ended. And I can explain all those parts in a moment. You see, when you were in relationships before you met the narcissist, you weren't being tested. What people were doing with you was probably communicating two-way, healthy communication avenues, meaning they would ask you questions, they would give you answers, you would ask them questions, you went back and forth like a tennis match, and you probably were not having to be on high alert. You weren't being quizzed, you weren't being grilled, you weren't being pushed, you weren't being drawn or lured into a relationship. But see, those were healthy and stable people that you were in relationships with, whether they were colleagues, coworkers, classmates, neighbors, business associates, or romantic interests. But then you met the juggernaut, you met the behemoth, you met the apex predator, the narcissist. And what they had done with you is they applied all the skill set that they have acquired or had acquired before they met you, and they applied those tools and those weapons and manipulating techniques against you to get as much information out of you as they possibly could. It was almost as if you were being grilled by a drill sergeant, but you didn't know it. And this person was telling you very little about themselves, and they were asking you to learn all about yourself. Now remember, this is one of the conundrums of the narcissistic relationship, specifically in the beginning when somebody doesn't have the wisdom. The person who was me, and certainly was you, you were an open book. You were giving to a fault. You were telling that person all about you. You were sharing with them your past relationships, your 401k, your money, your hopes, dreams, aspirations, your hobbies, your goals, your health concerns, when you would inherit money, what properties you owned, who you spent your time with, and what you did with your at your job, and more. When you were doing this and you were sharing this information with the person, that person was keeping a mental note of everything that you said in their tiny little pea brain. They filed it away and they stored it away to use it and weaponize it against you at a later date. You didn't realize that somebody could actually do that. Well, now you know that's what the narcissist does. They learn all about their targets, they learn all about people, and they do their best to assimilate and be like-minded with those people until they get their hooks or their claws or their fangs sunken into those people. And once that happens, that's when the ending of the love bomb / euphoric stage takes place. This is when you profess to that person who turned out to be toxic that you love them, or you wanted to marry them, or have children, or raise children, or relocate, or go into business, or put them through school, or do so many other things. Once they knew this, then they sat back and their pupils swelled to beach ball-like size with blackness of supply, and they said, I did it. It took me 4 months, it took me 6 months, it took me 8 months, but I did it. I finally have this person where I want them. Now I can begin to really manipulate them and steer them in the direction I want to steer them in. Once that happened, they knew that they had you. They knew that you were committed. They knew that they would really have the ability to push you and to push your resources as far as they possibly could take them. So they could steal everything out from underneath you insidiously, slowly, methodically, and that you would believe that you were doing the best you could because that person cared so much about you, or they knew so much more about you, or they had your best interest at heart, or they knew what they were talking about. Well, these people are predators, like I mentioned, and what they want to do is they want to capture what I call beautiful, bright, shining lights, which is myself and certainly is you, and they want to steal our energy, our mindset, our money, our hopes, dreams, goals, futures, purposes, everything about us. And when they try their best to do that, usually they take an awful lot from us, but they don't finish us off. And the reason why they don't finish us off is because you're here in the community. You're getting your cup full. Unlike all the other people that the narcissist met before you, that perhaps some of those people aren't on the planet, other people are still stuck. Most of them never figured out what narcissism is and or was, and they're still probably caught up and trapped in that abusive cycle, thinking about the person you're considering, but you're different. So once this person took whatever they could from you, most likely they discarded you or they ended the relationship. And when they did that, that was meant to twist the knife in you deeper and deeper. And as it twisted the knife in you deeper, you were never supposed to figure out who they were or what they had done. But again, you're different, so you did figure it out. Once you finally put 2 and 2 together and deduced that this was a narcissist or a narcissistic relationship that you were in, you probably were in disbelief, you were shocked, you were mesmerized, your jaw probably dropped to the ground, maybe you just wailed uncontrollably, or maybe you just sat back in disbelief. How did you not know this? How could you have fallen for it? But that was your first step on the journey to healing. You see, understanding and recognition of what kind of relationship you were part of is the first part of the test post-relationship that you will begin passing, and eventually you will pass it with flying colors if you continue to utilize the tools that are provided for you with each and every video I create, and with all the comments from all the 4 corners of the globe, from all the people who I've helped heal and who have healed even long before they found me in YouTube. All these people are now becoming the collective consciousness. We are all the empaths. We are all the educated empaths. We are becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered, and we're becoming stronger and stronger each and every second that we're on this planet. But having said that, as you were healing and the narcissist was not giving you closure and they took everything they could from you and they discarded you, you had to really figure out quickly who that person was, what they had done, how they had done it. You had to learn the definitions in the glossary on the narcissistic abusive cycle, such as what is gaslighting, what is triangulation, financial abuse, and more. Then you had to go down different rabbit holes of education and exploration that started with the narcissist, and then you went into your immediate family members, your former romantic relationships, your partners, business partners, your associates, your classmates, your teachers, people in religious organizations and or hobby groups that you are and or were a part of. And then you wrapped your head around, wow, this stuff is everywhere. It's not just the one person that tried to destroy my life. There are other people that maybe are more toxic, although I doubt it, but are perhaps even less toxic, but they still have an edge to them. They're still not cut from the same cloth that I'm cut from. And this is how you really begin to heal, and this is how you really begin to understand not how narcissism is exclusively or how empathy is, but how humanity works. Now, I've been saying that for years, how humanity works. You can read all the books on humanity you want to, you can study philosophy, you can do whatever you want to become educated. And I strongly suggest you read, and I strongly suggest you open your eyes to not just what you're seeing or reading on social media or books or watching videos, but really apply the skill set that you've acquired. Apply your own wisdom. Use your newfound superpower, which is discernment. Use your newfound superpower, which is seen behind the mask, the illusions of what certain people or beliefs are. Make up your own decision. That's what I do every day, and that's what I've been doing for quite a long time, because not everything is how it appears to be, and everybody, and I mean everybody, reveals themselves in time. Having said that, once you were healing, then you realized, okay, it's not just narcissism, empathy, and there are different types of people. But then you woke up and you realized, oh my gosh, this is a test. It's a test that only I know about. I wasn't prepared for this in school. All my friends and colleagues and neighbors and my immediate family members, they can't wrap their head around what I'm talking about. They're getting burnt out because I'm talking to them more and more about the narcissistic abusive cycle and how it affected me and what I had to do to heal and how could this person do this and all the things that you're learning. And they couldn't wrap their head around it. The reason they couldn't wrap their head around it, there are a couple reasons. One is because perhaps they're toxic themselves, possible. Number two, because they're probably, and this is most likely, they're probably people living in the everyday fog, which is they're not the narcissist, they're not the empath, or maybe they have a little of both, but they're living their life and they can't wrap their head around what you're talking about. Or third is that these people are just flat out getting burnt out because they have their own lives and they don't have the bandwidth to listen to. So any of those three things, then a couple more that I won't share in this video, but when you realize that, then you said, oh my gosh, this is going to be a journey. I'm on an island all by myself. The narcissist discarded me. They crumbled me up like a sheet of paper. They threw me away on the freeway, never thinking that I would put myself back together, dust myself off by the bootstraps, rise through the ashes like a phoenix and put myself back together. However, that's what I've done, or that's what I'm doing. And as I'm healing and elevating and getting stronger and more clear in my mind, fewer and fewer people are understanding what I'm talking about. And more people are thinking that I'm changing, I'm growing, and I don't want to spend time with them. Well, truth of the matter is, that is correct. You are changing, you are evolving. You're entering what I call the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. Remember, the three versions of you are these. The first version of who you were is who you were before you met the narcissist. The second version is who you became when you're in the narcissist abusive cycle. The third version of you is the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind once you're healed and you're out of the relationship and you've gone no contact and blocked flying monkeys, etc. That version of you is rarefied air. It's where I've been living for quite a long time. It's where I've helped thousands and tens of thousands of people to arrive at the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference. And those people, and I am one of them, we understand that we were given the test of a lifetime. It wasn't joining Mensa. It wasn't getting into a Harvard League school or an Ivy League school. It wasn't relocating halfway around the world. It wasn't buying your first house. It wasn't buying your first car. It was this, breaking the cycle. It was breaking the trauma bond against all odds. It was seeing behind the mask. It was being tested to your core day in and day out for months, weeks, days, maybe even years. It was you having to put yourself back together against all odds. It was not wanting to get out of bed many times, not wanting to eat, not wanting to go to work, going to bed at maybe 10 o'clock at night, but not falling asleep till 6:15, and you had to go to work at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, which meant you got 15 minutes sleep. This is why this is the relationship you need to heal from. There is no magic pill that can be consumed, and there's no magic wand that can be waved to help you to heal. It doesn't exist. That's why this is a test of a lifetime. It's a test you will pass if you continue to practice stoicism, patience. You focus on yourself. You wrap your head around what narcissism is, how it affected you for a period of time, which was the length of that relationship and afterwards, and that the narcissist kept on testing you from the minute they met you until even post-relationship, even after it ended, which I'll talk about right now, as I told with you, or I shared with you earlier I would. When the relationship ended, you potentially received some hoovers. You probably were taunted. The narcissist probably enlisted the flying monkeys, and they were swarming all around you, whether you knew it or not, and they were casting shadows of doubt about you. They were fanning the flames of the smear campaign and more. Well, this is what the narcissist does, because it's not good enough that they discard someone and just try to ruin their life. No, they need to double or triple down, and they need to enlist flying monkeys to do more damage to people, which is what the narcissist does. See, that's why they were still testing you. It wasn't just one person trying to destroy your life. They were the top of the list. They were the general, the field general, if you will, and they had all these other people jumping in with them to try and ruin your life and destroy your life and steal your hobbies and your job and your mindset and your money and your belief and your reputation and more. Well, these people failed because they couldn't knock you out. They couldn't take you down for the count. That's why this is the test of a lifetime. That's why this is a test that you will pass when you really understand what I'm talking about. One of the keys to healing, it's not only going no contact and blocking that person, but it is practicing radical acceptance and understanding that, yeah, that relationship was what it was. It wasn't what I thought it was. It certainly wasn't what the narcissist painted it to be. It was a toxic, debilitating, life-threatening, challenging relationship that was strangling me, choking me more and more and more. And the longer I stayed in it, the less voice I had. The less voice I had, the more resources became diminished. The more my resources became diminished. The more my resources that became diminished, the more the narcissist pressed on the gas pedal of abuse. The more they pressed on the gas pedal of abuse, the more I tried to stop them from doing that. The more I tried to stop them from doing that, the less energy I had. The less energy I had, the more they would ghost me and abuse me and gaslight me and stonewall me, give me the silent treatment, and essentially look for my replacement. And then once they took whatever they could from me and they thought that I was all used up like a battery that is not rechargeable, by the way, they would throw me away and they would insert a new battery, which would be known as the new supply or a recycled source of supply. This is what these people do. It's what they've been doing long before they met you. It's what they did with you, and it's what they're doing right now if they're still out gallivanting the globe. But the point being here is you were tested. You were tested from the minute they met you, because they were wearing a mask and they were seeing if you were smart enough to figure it out, or if you had your spider senses tingling back then, which you didn't. Number two, throughout that relationship, they kept on testing you and taunting you. Think about the smirk that they threw at you. Think about when they would slam doors. Think about that when they would scream in your ear going 90 miles an hour on the freeway. Think about perhaps when they would throw something at you. Think about when they would ruin your holidays or a birthday or a vacation. Think about when they would tell you they'd be home at 5 o'clock on a Friday and they wouldn't come home till 1:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. And you'd be like, what happened there? Oh, so-and-so just asked me to go and help them out for a while. Well, that was 7 hours. And then you look at them like, were you cheating on me? Were you? And they look at you like, what are you talking about? You're so insecure. I can't believe this. I can't do anything. You're so worthless. I can't believe I even married. See, things like this. This is why no good deed goes unpunished in the narcissistic relationship. It's why you can't win until you cut ties with these people. It's why they will continue to consume your energy, your mindset, your money, your aura, everything about you. They will take and take and take. And when they're done, what will they do? That's right. They will want to take more. That's why once you get the wisdom, you need to understand that the only way to pass this test is to get these people out of your life. The sooner the better. Once you've identified who they are, you need to batten down the hatches, go no contact, run for the hills, have a small footprint, stay and insulate yourself in that cocoon of boundaries, heal properly, and eventually put yourself back together. Because as I shared with you earlier, this is a test for you, for one person. Nobody can do the work for you. Nobody's going to knock on your door, and no one's going to be there to put you back together. You will have to do that by yourself. Yes, you'll have tools. Yes, you'll have videos. Yes, you'll have books. My hope is yes, you have a therapist, or yes, you have a coach or someone to help you and guide you that knows what they're talking about, by the way. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to go through this. You have to go through the darkness. You have to go through the tunnel and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you will have to put yourself back together. Second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month by month, and more. And eventually, one day you will realize that this was a test of a lifetime. It was the biggest test of your entire existence. You weren't prepared for it, but you won. You passed, and you passed with flying colors. And no longer can that narcissistic person you're considering or anybody similar to them get close to you or do any damage to you, because now you have boundaries and now you know your value and your worth, and you now know that there is toxicity all over this planet, but it won't find you and it can't find you, because now you have a superpower, and this is a superpower on steroids once you apply the tools that are provided for you. Everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. I love you all. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Recognize a few things. There are many tests that you've gone through in life. Some are big, some are small, some are medium, like I shared. Any tests you've ever passed, or perhaps maybe you didn't pass some tests, there was always a lesson to be learned in those tests. And you did very well until you got to a certain point in time. That's when you met the narcissist. When you met that person, they knew who they were. They knew what they were doing to you. They knew what they were capable of doing to you. And they knew that you had a very, very big hill to climb, an upward hill, once they had their hook sunken into you. They did not ever think you would be strong enough to break the trauma bond. They did not ever think you would be strong enough to heal. They certainly did not think you were strong enough to break the 4 ties, the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. And they did not think that you would be strong enough to pass this test of a lifetime. And the reason why they didn't think that is because all the people before you didn't pass that test. And you may say, how do you know that? How are you so sure about that one, Andrew? Well, I'll tell you, because of all the billions of people who have ever been in the narcissistic abusive cycle, a microcosm of people, this is in the history of humanity, a microcosm of people have figured it out, have healed, have gone no contact, put themselves back together, and made a huge difference in their own lives. Most people stay stuck. Most people don't figure it out. Most people are still pining for the narcissist, still giving them a chance, still believing that they are soulmates, or that they can change, or that they want to improve, and all those things. Those people have a longer road to go through than I did or you did. Remember, the healing path is not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time. But in your time, you will heal if you believe in yourself the way I believe in you, and if you utilize the tools, which means go no contact. Get off the radar of this person and heal. When you heal, you will see the world through a brand new different set of eyes, and you will have passed the test of a lifetime that so other few have passed. I've passed it, and I'll tell you right now, I passed it with flying colors. And every single day I'm on this planet, I help other people pass the test. You need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.